Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched another film via Odeon's Screen Unseen, where you go to the cinema without knowing what the film is until it starts, and it's the second time in a row where I didn't bother to research what the film was before I went to see it, and again I think I enjoyed it even more for doing that. It turns out the film was Sorry to Bother You, which I know has been generating a lot of buzz, I just didn't know much about it, like the plot, which follows a kid called Cassius Green, or Cash as he's known to his friends, who lands a job in a call centre working as a telemarketer working on commission, who gets into a bit of a conundrum as he discovers he has a hidden talent for the job and starts rising through the ranks, whilst his colleagues form a union to campaign for better pay, so he has to choose to be loyal to his friends or be a sellout and go for the money. And that plot summary makes it sound like this film is quite straightforward when it's anything but. It's very quirky, very weird and very, very funny. It's a surreal satire on capitalism in the vein of a Spike Jonze film or Charlie Kaufman, especially Michel Gondry, who does actually get a special mention. There's a video production within this film which is directed by Michael Dondry, which I thought was a wonderful little Easter egg. And like Michel Gondry's films, this one appears to be set in a parallel reality, with some parts that are recognisable and other parts which seem totally off kilter, like the fake companies and TV shows that appear within it. It often plays out like it's set in a dream, and with that comes the same low budget but childlike creativity in terms of its production values, and I loved it for that. But it's not going to be to everyone's taste. There were a lot of people that walked out in this screening, and I did look over every now and again, and it did appear that most of them were senior citizens. But the funniest thing is they were walking out before the film got even really weird. They were going in the first 10, 20, 30 minutes. There is a moment in this film when it just completely changes gear and goes really, really weird and completely bonkers. And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I think the funniest thing about it is watching our protagonist Cash trying to comprehend what's going on and then explain it to other characters within the film. It's so funny and I was laughing all of the way home. But I don't want to spoil anything, so let's just talk about the performances. Lakeith Stanfield is great as Cash, this everyday kid who doesn't really know what he wants to do and is selling his soul by working for this corrupt company. What's funny is I've just reviewed him in The Girl in the Spider's Web, and there is a moment in this where a character tells him that he's far more interesting when he's the everyday guy before he tries to be something else. I thought that's so true. I so hope he sticks to doing indie films like this and Get Out as opposed to the big budget blockbusters. I love these performances and he's great in this. And then you've got Tessa Thompson as his girlfriend Detroit, and I love her in everything I've seen her in. I can't wait to see her in Creed 2. In this, she's an artist with strong political views who doesn't agree with the system, but she knows how to play it. She has a really interesting and weird scene when she's doing her art and she's provoking her audience, and it's kind of showing what it takes to be an artist. I think both of these characters could be a representation of the director Boots Riley, who also wrote this film. I didn't know who this guy was. I had to look him up, and apparently he's a rapper. He has been involved in other film productions, mostly behind the scenes, but this is his directorial debut. But what I found really interesting about him is that he's also an activist, so I definitely think that these two characters are representations of himself. There's plenty of other funny characters in there with some great casting like Danny Glover and Glenn from The Walking Dead, and even though he's not in it that much, Armie Hammer pretty much steals the show as the CEO of a company with a sinister plan for cash. Yeah, no problems with the casting at all. They're all great. The only minor issues I can think of is I think the film could have benefited from maybe losing 10 minutes from its runtime. This could have been achieved by trimming down some of the second act where I felt it did drag a little bit, and also there are some scenes where I felt the lighting was a little bit off. It felt a little bit too dark. Maybe they could have benefited from maybe using silhouettes or something like that, but these are really minor gripes because overall the presentation is weird. It's wonderfully weird. So that's my thoughts on Sorry to Bother You, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. The last few films that I've seen and reviewed have left me underwhelmed to say the least, so I was craving for something different and unique and quirky, and this film completely delivers on that. But I also think it's very smart, it's also very funny and extremely creative. If you like films like Being John Malkovich and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Be Kind Rewind, then definitely go and check this one out. It won't disappoint. So thanks very much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like and don't forget to share the lave.